Welcome back to this special edition of the SwimSwam Breakdown. I'm your host, Coleman Hodges, coming to you from Austin, Texas, joined by YanYan Lee from Evanston, Illinois. We are here to preview the 2024 Doha World Championships. It's a strange World Championships. If you didn't already know, it's happening in February. Normally, World Championships do not happen at that time. But because of the COVID pandemic and things getting pushed around in the international swimming schedule, we're having a World Championships in February. I think the most intriguing storyline overall for this World Championships, it's kind of like a conference meet, which is timely because it's bumping right up against
Coleman,
NCAA conference
that's a
season.
very American way of thinking.
Well, because you don't always know how prepared or rested or tapered
I
swimmers
know.
are going into
I know.
conference meets.
I
And
just wanted to make an American short course yards joke.
but it's like we don't know how all of these athletes, how prepared they are or what kind of preparation they have coming into this meet. So it's going to be really interesting to see who swims well, who doesn't swim well, and how those performances follow them leading into their respective Olympic trials and the Olympic Games. But I do want to start the conversation with this. This week on SwimSwam, our weekly A3 performance poll was, what value would you give a medal from the 2024 World Championships compared to a normal edition? 25%, 50%, 75%, 100%, or less than 25%. YanYan, what value would you give a medal from this World Championships?
I saw most people said 50%, and that's what I'm going to go with. It's still a pretty impressive field, and a World Championships is a World Championships. But again, when so many of the nation's top stars aren't competing, it doesn't really feel like you're a world champion because you're not the best in the world. And I feel like obviously to a lesser extent the same can be applied to medals from the 2022 World Championship, because we all know that was a really weird year, and just we know that even if you were world champion that year, that doesn't mean you were the best in the world.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I mean, by the same token, I feel like short course worlds are often in a similar boat where half the time at short course world championships, it's coming off of the Olympics. And so a lot of people are not back into the swing of racing or have taken an extended break and aren't competing at that time. And so short course worlds is always kind of a mixed bag of the competitors you get. And so I voted 75% because I think this is kind of like a 1B championships. Like, I am a world champion, or a world championship medalist, but it was at this World Championships, which I think gives you a lot of credit, but not quite the full, right? Like, to me,
Yeah.
that's kind of like the 75% option. It was pretty split. The 50% is at 38% right now. As in 38% of the people who voted chose 50%. The next option was 75% with 23%, and then 19% said this should count as 100%. 11% of the people said 25%, and then 10% said less than 25%. So it's pretty even split there. I know that was a lot of percents. I'm sorry for that, listeners, but so it's interesting, right? It's a weird World Championships at a weird time. Some events are stacked. Some events are pretty not stacked.
I feel like we need to limit the usage of the word stacked, because it is a very swim word, and we use it a lot.
You think so?
Yeah.
It's a very swim stacked.
Yeah. It's a very overused swim vocabulary word.
A lot of events are top heavy, and a lot of events are not. So we're gonna preview some of those top heavy events. in today's podcast to get you, the listeners, excited for this World Championships, because I think that no matter who is there and who isn't there, it's going to be a really exciting meet. We're going to see some fast swimming. We just don't know quite from where yet.
Kind of sucks that it's at 10 a.m. The finals are at 10 a.m. every single day of the week. That is exactly when I have class. So I will not be watching World Championships. I will not be covering it, unfortunately. But I'm very excited to see the results.
For listeners out there, that's 10 a.m. Central U.S. time.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 11 a.m. Eastern,
Yeah.
8 a.m. Pacific. That's finals, not prelims.
Yeah.
So finals every day. So
Yeah.
I love that. I get to wake up, get my morning started a little bit, and then at 10 a.m. tune in for finals and kind of spend the majority of the day doing work or covering it. So for me, it works great.
Kind of annoying because when I used to cover Worlds over the summer, the finals would just be ridiculously early.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sometimes it works out really weird. When it's in like Fukuoka or Tokyo, it's like 6 a.m. finals, and that is pretty intense. But I think that's what the Olympics were.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry, that's not. But that's what World Champs in 19.
Yeah, because the Olympics
and
they
last year
changed the
were.
times to specifically appeal to American viewers. It was awful.
Right. So finals start this Sunday. Again at 10 a.m. Central U.S. time.
Super Bowl Sunday.
Super Bowl Sunday. You can get your swimming fix in the morning and your football fix in the afternoon. So it's a perfect split. And then it's an 8-day World Championships with a pretty typical World Champ schedule. So let's dive into some of the events that we're looking forward to. I want to start with a bang. I want to start with the men's relays. We put out our preview.
That's what you're most excited for?
Because the 400 free relay on the men's side and the women's side, I assume, is day one.
Yeah, but no one's going to be racing it. Actually, no.
That's not true.
Maybe the men's.
The men's is a really it looks like it's going to be a really fun event.
The top swimmers aren't going to be there. I don't think. Maybe Cameron McAvoy for Australia.
I'm totally unconvinced Cam McAvoy swims the 400 free relay.
Who else would swim it? They don't have Kyle Chalmers. There's no.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, they'd have to talk him into swimming it.
Okay, that's
like, I don't think he wants to.
And there's not that many sprint freestyles on the U.S. team either. It's Shaine Casas. That's basically it.
So Luke Hobson, but that's so misleading.
Luke Hobson?
Because
he's going to swim the 100 free?
Well, he has a best time flat start of 48.9. I think Luke Hobson could absolutely split a 48 mid to 48 low. And I think at that World Championships, at this World Championships, that's a great split. Matt King, who was on our relay this summer.
Right, Matt King's.
And then Carson Foster, whose best flat start time is 49.3 is listed in this preview article, but he's split 48 at World Juniors 4.5 years ago. And I think it's very safe to say he's improved as an athlete since then. So like I have no doubt he can throw down at least a 48.7, but maybe a 48.2.
I'm not very excited to see makeshift relays of a country's not
really
top swimmers. Maybe for the Americans, it'll be interesting to see if there's any dark horse contenders to maybe go on the 4x100 during Paris. But other than that, I just don't find it very interesting. I'm sorry.
I mean, I think it's interesting. This is also why it's like a conference meet, because this is like a precursor to the big meet, right? You see things at conference meets and you're like, okay, what does that mean for NC2As? We see things at this meet, like a Cam McAvoy swimming a 400 free relay if he does that, and you think, okay, if he splits 47.5, if he splits 48.5, you're like, could he be on Australia's relay? If he splits 48-0, if he splits, it's like there's a lot of possibilities.
I mean, I do.
And
That
same for
is what
Italy.
I do like about this meet is that it is a sort of testing run meet, but I was mainly thinking about that for the individual events and not so much the relays because I don't think they're going to be prioritized by most countries.
But we know they're going to be this relay will be
I guess.
prioritized by Great Britain.
Yeah, yes, definitely. For Great Britain, yes.
So
For
Matt,
every country not named US and Australia, yes.
right. So it's like Matt Richards, Duncan Scott, Jacob Whittle, and Tom Dean are all there for Great Britain. We know that they're prioritizing this relay because they were DQ'd at the World Championships, so they have not officially qualified this men's 400 free relay for the Olympics yet. Therefore, they're going to go all out for this relay because they have a very legitimate shot at winning an Olympic title in it. And then we get to see how good they are and then how good the rest of these makeshift teams are. So I think it will be very fun to see teams like China, Australia, USA, and Italy fighting for what we think will be silver and bronze medals with essentially B teams.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the men's 400 medley relay, again, I think it will just be interesting to see what different countries do with who they have and how they react to that. Because like for instance, in our preview, we have Spain in contention for a medal in the 400 medley relay, which we don't normally see, but it's like, okay, like what's Hugo Gonzalez going to do now that he might have a long course focus? What's Carlos Colmarti, who swims for Virginia Tech, going to do with an Olympic semifinal or final in mind for him, perhaps? So I think from that perspective, these men's relays could be really interesting. And then, of course, just how the U.S. is going to stack up our medley relay. Right now, it looks like Hunter Armstrong, Nick Fink, Shaine Casas, Matt King. I mean, that's a really good relay.
That's probably what they're going to do for. And that is a decent relay lineup.
And that's interesting because it could be the case where none of those swimmers swim on the Olympic relay.
Hunter Armstrong. Nick Fink probably will.
He probably will, but there's a chance he could not.
There's a chance, but I think he most likely will. But
yeah.
We'll see.
The 800 free relay is not that interesting to me. No. But I do think the 400 free relay on day one is a great way to start for the men. So let's jump over to the women. I want to start with the sprint free on the women's side.
Now that I can agree is a very
What intrigues you the most about the 50 and 100 free on the women's side?
Well, I want to start off with the 100 free just because I think this is one of the fields where you're getting most of the Olympic contenders. Obviously, Molly O'Callaghan, the two-time world champion, is missing, but you've got Siobhan Hawley, Shayna Jack, Merritt Steenbergen, Kate Douglas, Sarah Sjöström's going to be in this, which I think is really interesting. I'm very excited to see her swim 100 free because she hasn't done that individually in a long time. And I think even without the world champion, there's still a lot of top end talent in this race. And I think it could go any way, especially at a strange meet like this. Like Siobhan Hawley is the favorite, but I'm not as confident about her winning this as I am for her in the 200, where she's 2 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. So I think this is just going to be a really competitive race, and I'm really excited to see who comes out on top.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this, you see 6 women who could easily be in the Olympic final. It basically could be those 6 plus another Aussie or 2. There's already 1 Australian in there. But you think like 1 more Australian, 1 more American is what I think. And like that could easily be the Olympic final. However, Sjöström will be, I think, a highlight for me as well, seeing what she can do. She's been 53-2 this season, which is a great in-season swim already, versus how Siobhan carries herself through the season where she swims fast pretty much all the time, and how she carries that momentum into these world championships. She's already been 52:02 this season, which is her career best time. That's, 0.3 off of Sjöström's world record. So those two going head to head will be really exciting. And then we get to throw in Kate Douglas, Merritt Steenberg, and Shaine Jack and see what they can bring to the mix as well.
Yeah, and Kate Douglas, she has that same double that she had at World Champs with the 200 breast coming after the 100 free. So I'm very interested to see how she handles this double the second time around. I know she said, I was listening to her on the Kickset podcast a few days ago, but she said she's like doing world championships. And I think she told you this as well in an interview. Like she's just basically loading up all her events just to have the experience of racing so much because that's just the kind of swimmer that she is.
I mean, and we know that she is also another swimmer who can throw down fast times pretty much whenever. We saw her in Knoxville in January break a decade old American record in the 200 breast while going 207 low or 207 something in the 200 IM in a time trial. So it's like she seems ready. Hopefully the travel doesn't throw her too much and she can, put up some really good times. But I think even for her that's a tough double, and to perform in both will be challenging, especially with the 100 free being what it is. Maybe the 200 breast field will be kind of light, and she'll get to cruise it.
It is. She's a heavy favorite in the 200 breast.
It seems like Tess Schouten is her only stiff competition there,
and she's still considerably ahead of Tess Schouten if you look at the times on paper.
Yeah. So moving to the 50 free, I don't think this one is quite as intriguing just because Sarah Sjöström.
I just want to point out, I think Sarah Sjöström is one of the most exciting swimmers in the sport of swimming because she's just so ridiculous. We talk so much about Katie Ledecky's dominance, but her dominance at this age and the way she's been doing this for 15 or so years is just crazy. And she's still so good. I feel like she's gotten better since Tokyo, and obviously she was hurt then, but I think this where she's at right now is probably the best that she's looked since 2017, and that's just so exciting for a swimmer like her, and the narrative that she has being from a smaller country like Sweden. Obviously Sweden has had its successful swimmers, but that it's still just cool to see, and to see that she's this dominant force in the 50 free, which is so hard. It's so hard to be that dominant in such a short event, but she's doing it in 250 stroke events, and that's just very cool for me to see. So I
agree.
just went on that spiel, but it was needed.
it was needed. The spiel we needed. I mean, I think the only real blemish on her career is not having an Olympic title in those sprint free events, of which she is the world record holder in both. But it would be super cool to see her get that in Paris. And I think this hopefully will be a great stepping stone for her. She's going for world title number 6 in a row in the 50 fly, which is insane. And then in the 50 free, she won in 2017. I think she was second in 2019, and then won in 2022 and 23 in the 50 meter freestyle.
Yeah.
So she's going for the three-peat, as it were, even though you don't normally have 3 world championships in 2.5 years.
Yeah.
But she's won numerous world titles in the 50 free, and to add another one, which it seems like it will again, even a 75% one, she is adding to that historic legacy.
Yeah.
And I don't really see anyone. Shaine Jack will be in that field. Merritt Steenbergen, Kasia Wasik, who's now training in Dallas. If you didn't know, with not Coley Stiglitz. With
You report that?
we did. She's training in Dallas at SMU with Ozzy Cavedo and Santo Condarelli.
That would make sense.
Yeah. I don't actually know why she moved from Vegas to Dallas.
I know
but
she's been swimming at. Never mind, she's been doing that just in general. I was gonna say I know she's been swimming in a lot of American meets, but that's not a new thing.
Yeah. But again, I think Sjostrom is the hands down favorite
Yeah,
in that
it's
50
just
freestyle.
exciting to see what time she's gonna throw down like that. That's just really exciting.
Yeah. We don't get Katie Ledecky at this meet, but we do get Sarah Sjostrom, which is again a win for the history books. And let's go to the men's sprint freeze. The 50 and the 100, two very different fields.
Yeah, I think the men's freestyle similar to the women's side, where the 50 free there's a pretty obvious favorite if Cameron McAvoy can pull off the dominance he had at World Championships last year, whereas the 100 free could go many ways. Because I think Pan Genla is the favorite because of what he did at the Asian Games. But then you've got the reigning world champion in Matthew Richards. And you've got a bunch of other pretty fast swimmers like Alessandro Moresi, who's just very consistent, Nandor Nemeth, Jack Cartwright, Matt King. Well, yeah, I think Jack Cartwright's another one of the swimmers who like made a pretty big jump this Olympic cycle.
He
What's
is.
with the laughing over Jack?
I'm laughing because this is an obvious typo. Sorry to laugh at our own. On our preview, it says Jack Cartwright's season best is 47.8, and his career best is 49.4. And obviously, that doesn't line up. But Jack Cartwright, a serious threat for medals in this 100 freestyle.
Yeah, he went his first PB since 2017 last year.
Good for him. Yeah, I think the 100 free has a lot of those guys who are more 100, 200 guys, which we've seen that trend continue, where a lot of guys are either swimming the 100 or the 50, but not a lot of mix and match into both of those. As exemplified, Nandor Nemeth, Matt Richards, Huang Sun Wu, Alessandro Moresi, all guys. Sorry, Moresi doesn't really swim the 200 free, but
he's not really a 50 guy either.
Right. You have these guys who are just kind of 100 guys.
Yeah,
David Popovich, Kyle Chalmers, a lot of guys who are not really focused on the 50. But I think Pan Genla, as you said, is the favorite just because of the year he's had and how he's been able to consistently throw down 47 lows. He has a career best of 46.9, which he went last season. And then you've got guys like Huang Sun Wu, Matt Richards, and Moresi, who we think will be chasing. But do you think that taking it out fast will favor someone in this field because it is such a 200 heavy field? Do you think everyone's going to be waiting to make their move on the back half? Or do you think that if someone takes it out, they're going to pay for it at the end because it's such a back half heavy field?
I think it depends. Depends on who's the leader and who's the back half, the strongest people in the back half. Because when we talk about a full-on field, you've got guys like Caleb Dressel, Kyle Chalmers, Maxime Gousset, who are very much Josh Liendo, very much like sprint heavy, and they're like a lot bigger, and they usually take it out fast. And there's a lot of stuff about drag and stuff, and I don't think this field will have the same issue in terms of that. But also, you never really know with these things until you watch the race happen, and I don't know what more to say about this. I just think definitely it'll be interesting to see this is a very different field and there's going to be different dynamics.
Yeah, I asked that because I do think fortune will favor the bold in this particular race. You don't have Caleb Dressel, David Popovich, or Kyle Chalmers, who are the reigning Olympic and world champions of the last 3 seasons, right? And so without those kind of biggest dogs in play, I think a lot of people will be relying on that second half and maybe not pushing the race as much. So I think if one of those guys can figure out, okay, I can take it out, I can actually push the front half maybe to my limit, and if I can find that limit and get out ahead of the field, I know I have the back half to back it up as good as any of these other guys do. So I think my prediction for this final is if someone can find a way to take it out, then all of these guys have a great back half. So I think fortune will favor the bold in this race. That's my prediction. I don't know who is going to do that though.
Yeah, but I think that's the same thing as saying, "Oh, imagine how good Kyle Chalmers would be if he had Caleb Dressel start." And that kind of conversation, I just don't think it's like as easy said than done to have a good front half and also have a good back half.
I do too, but I think all of those, like, I think that's what a lot of these guys train for. And I think if someone can execute it, the thing is, like, it's a lot easier to talk about specifics with certain people. Like, we know Kyle Chalmers' race plan, right? Like, he was never going to flip first at the wall. Like, Caleb Dressel is never going to flip last at the wall, right? Or sorry, at the 50 wall. Like, we kind of know those things about these swimmers, but I think because a lot of these guys are on a more even playing field and we don't know their strategies quite as well because they haven't been at the very top on a consistent basis, then I think it lends more of a chance for someone to seize an opportunity to try something different and see if it works.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my very vague prediction. We'll see how that goes.
We will see.
Let's turn to the 50 free on the men's side. Who do you like here?
I want to say Cameron McAvoy, and I think it will end up being him, but you really never know. And I think his situation is different from Sarah Sjöström because Sarah Sjöström, for at least the last 2 years, has been consistently dominant in the 50 free. Whereas with Cam McAvoy, we saw him go 21.0 once. And I'm not saying he can't do it again, but I just have less confidence in him doing it again than I do in someone like Sarah Sjöström for the women's race. And yeah, Cameron McAvoy has been 21.2, 21.3. That's still considerably faster than the rest of the field here, but I think no. Ben Proud has been 21.3 in 2022. But just I want to see him replicate that to know that he can consistently do it.
Agreed. And we also haven't seen Cam McAvoy swim fast a lot outside of championship meets.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock on him. That's just it's February and some people don't swim fast in season or don't swim fast until a trials or an Olympic Games or a real World Championships. And this is, again, a 1B World Championships to me. And that's why I kind of like been proud for this race, is because he has proven that he can swim fast at more times than just at a 1A World Championships or Olympic Games or a trials meet. We saw him do it all the time in the ISL. And I think we saw him do it when he won European Championship, World Championship, Short Course World Championship, and Commonwealth Games all in like the span of 6 months. And so I like Ben Proud going into this race. they also kind of meet in the middle in terms of just geography. And been proud having lived in
the time zone thing.
Oh yeah. Ben Proud also lived in Asia for a while. So I like Ben Proud for this one.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
This is just giving me so many flashbacks to the silly arguments that everyone had during World Championships. Like, oh my god, Team USA was in Singapore and it messed them all up. Blah 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 blah. I don't know. That's just really funny to me.
I do feel like it's a factor that I think can't be ignored. And I'm not saying it's an excuse, but it is like jet lag is real.
You know what? I think Cameron McAvoy will win because Australians only swim fast in Asia.
Fair enough. That's I think at this point that's a legitimate argument. Let's switch over to men's distance freestyle because we will see some real heavy hitters in this. First off, sink or swim. Ahmed Hafnaoui, will he compete at this meet?
I'm gonna swim it. Why not? Like, why would he not? He's not in college. He's not doing anything.
I feel like we just never have a super good read on him.
No.
As in, we just never really know what's going on. And I hope he does, certainly. I would love to see it. Especially, again, this is another case of someone putting up stellar performances at the World Championships. And so it would be lovely to see another data point of him backing those swims up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think SwimSwam has him winning triple silver, which I think is pretty bold.
I think Daniel Whiffen was
we have Whiffen winning triple gold.
Oh my god.
In the 4, 8, and 1500 freestyles.
I don't think Hafnaoui is getting triple silver, and I don't think Whiffen's getting triple gold. I think there will be at least one other person in there who will mess with things. Either Elijah Whittington, who we have to remember was the 2022 world champion, 341 low in the 400 free, still pretty good time. Lucas Martins is going to be there. He had a pretty decent meet. It's not just black and white. It's not just Whiffen and it's not just one or the other, Whiffen or Hafnaoui. I think men's distance, even in a condensed even in a watered down world championships like this, men's distance is competitive, and you never know what's going to happen.
Right. Men's distance swimming is the healthiest it's ever been. I think the most robust. Even without Bobby Fink, Sam Short, and Lucas Martins in the men's 800 free, you still have Dan Whiffen, Hafnaoui, Romanchuk, Paltrinieri, and Florian Wellbrock, among others. I feel like I would give the
always swimming the 200, 400 strange.
Say that again?
I find it strange that Martins is only swimming the 200 and 400.
I don't know. If I was him, I might do that too. He's really good at those.
Distance sucks.
Yeah. I would give Whiffen the 800, but I think I kind of like someone else for the 15. And like Hafnaoui could do it, Paltrinieri could do it, Wellbrock could do it, Romanchuk could do it. Like all of those, all of their best times are within 5 seconds. It's just crazy. But I think we'll see more variance there just because, again, there's more opportunities to play with race strategies here. So I think if someone executes well in one race, there's still a lot more opportunity for another person to execute well in another race.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't buy triple silver for half Naui and triple
No.
gold for
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot less
for
predictable
Whiffen.
than that.
Agreed. And
I
again,
what did you
you
say?
just don't know where everyone's going to
Yeah,
be coming
yeah,
into
and
this meet.
especially with Hafnawi, and he's had a history of just we don't know what's going on with him, and I feel like I thought that would be resolved because he's an NCAA. He was an NCAA swimmer, but now he's not, and now we're back to being in the dark.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I thought we would have some stability there, and we don't. So
Nope.
maybe one day. Let's shift to women's breaststroke, where we've got a lot of good events. 50 breast. We have Ruda Melutite. We have Benedetta Pilato. We have Laura Van Niekerk. I feel like it's safe to say that will be the podium. However, we have Anita Battazzo of Italy, who's been 30.0. We have Tang Qianting of China, who's been 30.0. And then we have Sophie Hansen, Mona McSherry, among others, who have serious shots at making noise. Do you think anyone will beat out those top three for a spot on the 50 breast podium, though?
50 breast. I think 10 Canting. I don't know if it was her who broke the Chinese record or someone else, but some Chinese swimmer went like 30.0 in
Oh,
the
sorry. It was Tang. Her lifetime best is 9.9.
hold on. Yeah, 29.9. Yeah, I think she definitely has a shot. I think honestly any swimmer who's close to breaking 30 has a chance at podiuming. And I think Ruda's is a favorite because she's been on the tear for the last 2 years. But she's also not the fastest in season swimmer, I feel like, because she didn't do great at the World Cup circuit. I know she was sick, but just she's someone who shows up and pulls it off at big meets. You don't really see her. You don't really see headlines about her throughout the year of her just doing ridiculous things. Like she's one of those swimmers, sort of like half Naui, where she shows up at the big meets and blows you away completely.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you, and I think that's why she will perform at this meet, because even if it's 75%, it's still a world championships. And I think Ruda does have that clutch factor.
Yeah.
And so I see her winning the 50 and the 100 here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's shift to the 100. I think I agree with you as
Siobhan
well.
Haughey in the
On the
100. She's been the breaststroke story of the last few months.
Okay. Who's gonna place higher in the 100 breast? Siobhan Haughey or Kate Douglas?
I'm not sure if Kate Douglas is going to end up swimming the 100 breast.
What? Come on. Okay, assuming they do.
Oh God, I'm gonna say
entered
Haughey. Haughey has been better than Douglas and has beaten Douglas in the past, and I think like there's no purpose in Siobhan Haughey swimming this event. It's just zero pressure for her at all. And with Kate Douglas, like if she ends up swimming, like she's thinking about like the implications for her 200 breast, whereas Haughey's just doing it for fun. And I think that will give Haughey an edge.
I'm telling Kate you said that.
Okay.
I think that's the safe choice. We
Yeah.
haven't seen Kate Douglas pop in this event, right?
Yeah. No.
And it is one of 6 for her
Yeah.
at this meet.
Yeah.
So I don't think A, it's the focus, and B, she's necessarily figured it out
Yeah.
in this one yet.
Yeah, and she doesn't need to figure. I mean, she does for the 200 breast, but it's not her priority. Like swimming a good 100 breast, like won't be her priority here.
Yeah. Have you confirmed, is Siobhan Haughey entered in the 100 breast? Yes, she is. We don't even have her making the final.
Oh, weird. Is it conflicting with something? I'm
Wonder why
guessing
that
that's
is.
probably the reason.
I event number 15 and event number 11. Yeah, I think it conflicts with the tuner free.
Okay. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
3 additional. Yeah. So we'll see. Recently, it's unclear if she will even swim the event due to its conflict with the tuner free. That is bogus. I hope she swims it.
Yeah.
It'd be if she did
There,
both.
it doesn't hurt. She's gonna win the 200 free anyways. If
Yeah. It's like no contest there. I think it's bold that we had Tess Schoten finishing 4th.
Why do you think she should be higher or lower?
I do think she should be higher. I think her star is continuing to rise.
I think her and Mona McSherry. Mona McSherry has been phenomenal recently. Long course, short course. I think she's due for a medal.
And I mean, like on paper, she is 4th right now, behind Ruda, Mona, and Pilato.
No,
she's ahead of Ruda, but I get why we put Ruda winning. Anyway, I think Tess Schoten will medal. That's my hot take for the women's breaststroke and the 100.
I think Schoten will medal over Pilato. I feel like Schoten has been more. I don't know. She's been more consistent than Pilato has.
I also just feel safer betting on someone who I know has closing speed versus someone who goes out like a mad person and tries to hang on.
Yeah.
And we know Tess Schoten's going to close.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm looking at the women's 50 fly, and the only thing I want to know is, do you think Kate Douglas is going to win a medal?
Kate Douglas.
In the women's 50 fly. We have her at silver.
I didn't even know she was swimming the 50 fly.
Exactly.
Let's
take a break and list Kate Douglas's events. 100 breast, 200 breast, 200 IM, 50 fly, 100 free, and I think 50 free.
Sarah Sjöström.
A lot of events.
Melanie Hanique is very good. She medaled at Worlds in 2022. I think, and this is her best event. I think she has the upper hand over someone like Kate Douglas, who's, I don't even know if she's going to end up swimming.
Her career best is 26.2.
Hanique or Douglas?
No, Douglas.
Is that from taking out the 100 fly? I feel like it is.
Probably. I mean, I don't think she's ever even swum it.
Yeah. And for Farida Osman's in this field, she's been a medalist in the 50 fly a few times.
Yeah.
She's very good.
Back training at Cal with Dave Durden and David Marsh.
I don't think Kate Douglas is going to medal in this event because I don't think she can't medal in everything.
I'm telling her you said that.
YanYan Lee from SwimSwam said this.
Kate, YanYan doesn't think you can win 6 medals. I don't think she'll medal in this. I mean, like, what? Come on. If she wins 6 medals, then like she's gonna win 6 medals at the Olympics.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
Like she's then she's ascended. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. 50. I don't see it. 26.2. Again, I think this is another event that she just isn't there in long course.
Yeah.
I think long course, it's yards. It's a lot easier to just be like, oh, I'm really good at walls, so I'm really good at all of these events.
Yeah. That's why yards and versatility like always makes me laugh. Because it's very impressive to be versatile, but so much of that versatility is like, if you have good underwaters, if you have good walls, you can swim everything.
Whereas long course, you do have to be more dialed in event by event.
Yeah.
Which I think is why which is why Michael Phelps was such an anomaly, winning 5 individual events at a single meet, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's really hard. If this was a short course worlds, no question, I would say Kate Douglas winning 6 medals.
Yeah.
but this is not.
Yeah.
Okay, another just question about
Random.
swimmers.
I like that.
Sorry, this is about U.S. swimmers. If you're not a U.S., but we're American, so I'm gonna ask about American swimmers. Michael Andrew, do you see him winning an individual medal? He is swimming all 450s, aka the best event lineup ever.
I saw the DraftKings odd. He's the favorite in the 50 fly, even though Diego Ribeiro is a world medalist, reigning world medalist. I think that's kind of funny. I don't think he's beating Diego Ribeiro, but I do think he's going to medal in a 50 because 50s are his bread and butter. He can pop off a 50 at any time. It's not like the longer events where he's like sometimes inconsistent, but he's medaled in the 50s before. I still think he's one of the best 50 stroke swimmers in the world. I think he'll get at least one medal. Probably the 50 fly or the 50 breast. But yeah, I think he's medaling.
Agreed. I think he wins 2 medals individually.
Yeah.
He's going for he's finaled in all 450s before at a world champs. I think it would be freaking epic if he won 4 medals at a world champs in all 450s, which is his goal, which I think is an awesome goal.
Yeah.
So like that's what I'll be rooting for, but I'll give him 2 just because I don't, it's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of sprinting for one meet.
Especially, no offense to him, but especially with Michael Andrew, you never know. You never know what he's gonna be like. He's so unpredictable.
It would take a remarkable amount of consistency, which I'm sure he does in training, but like, and I hope he does this at that meet too.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I won't even ask her. Those are fun.
Huh? Yeah. What are your thoughts on Shaine Casas at this meet?
Shaine Casas. I think this is actually.
What do you think he's gonna do?
Because this is a lower stakes meet than what he's typically used to, and obviously he couldn't even perform at a lower stakes meet like the U.S. Open. But I'm sure he knows this about himself as well, that he has trouble at higher stakes meets. But if you give him a platform like this, it's still a big meet, but it's not as big as like an Olympics or honestly even Olympic trials to me. Like, this is a chance for him to really do well without the pressure on his back. And I think if he does well, it's going to give him a lot of confidence headed into the Olympic trials.
Well, he's a world's medalist in 2022. He had a sensational short course worlds in 2021 in Abu Dhabi. So he's performed well in the Middle East before. So I really hope what you just said comes to fruition for him. He's the 50 fly, the 100 fly, and the 200 IM, which I think are great events for him, minus the 50 fly, but I don't really care. I don't, it's not an Olympic event. We're in an Olympic year. Like, if you medal, woo. If not, okay. So I think if he has a shot to do great in the 100 fly and the 200 IM, where he's already hit stellar time. I think if he goes his in-season times in those events, he wins 2 world titles.
Yeah.
156.0 and 50.8, 50.6.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that for the 200 IM just because Carson Foster is also swimming in that event, and he's been 155 before. And I think there's Duncan Scott, I believe, is also swimming the 200 IM.
I still think 156.0 wins.
But when you have 3 guys who have been under that, and I guess Diaceto's in that race as well. Like, you can't really count on that being the winning time.
Mm-hmm. Fair, but I do think that wins. But anyway, I hope Shaine has a great meet. And I'm really excited to see him swim on U.S. relays too.
Okay, cool then. Over under 2 world records broken.
Oh, so let's say 2.5.
2.5.
Well, or 1.5. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what line do you want to set there? 1.5 or 2?
1.5. I like 1.5.
Under. I'm saying 1 or 0 world records at this World Championships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
I think there's a high possibility of 1, like in X event, you know, like Ruda might go nuts and do something in the 50 or the 100. Sarah Sjostrom always swims fast, pretty much always. So like she could pop something. I don't think she will though. We won't see any from relays, but you know, it's like we could from someone, I guess. But Kate Douglas could break a world record. I think that's possible.
That would be very interesting.
That would be crazy. Dang. If the 200 breast world record wasn't so nuts already, like
yeah.
That could be a possibility.
Yeah, she could have broken it if the 200 breast world record was still held by Tatiana Schumacher, but Chukhanova just blew that door open.
You know, what she could break a world record in, I think, is the 100 fly.
She's not swimming the 100 fly, I believe.
Well, she could if she was swimming it, but she's not. You're right.
No.
That's what she needs to time trial at this meet, though. Maybe she just like does the reverse of going for a split, and in the 50 fly keeps going.
She just keeps going. That would be so funny.
Like, just tell the judge ahead of time. You know, it's like, hey, I'm actually not going to stop. I'm just going to turn around and keep going for the world record here. And then she goes out with the field, and then
so you think she's gonna win, but then she keeps going and she just forfeits
Exactly.
her medal to get a world record.
How much of a boss statement would it be if she medaled in the 50 fly and then turned and broke the world record in the 100 fly?
You know, I want to see Zhang Yufei do that, not Kate Douglas. Because Zhang Yufei is a proven 50 fly star, and she's the best 100 butterfly in the world. I want to see that from her.
She's a proven butterfly star, right? Oh. Like 50 to 200.
Yeah.
She can do it all. That would be fun. I feel like you could get quite a few people who do that. Like, I think Tori Husk would be good in that. I think Sjostrom would be good in that. I think if you could talk Emma McKeon into it, it would be. I don't think she would do it.
Why do we have to talk Emma McKeon into doing it?
Because I think she'd be good at it. Like, I think there are a lot of people.
Why do we have to talk her into doing it, not everyone else?
I think other people would be more willing. I think Emma McKeon is like.
Is it because she's Australian?
No, it's because she only sprints now. I guess so does Sarah, but whatever. Or like Emma McKeon hasn't swum the 100 fly in a while.
Okay.
Or butterfly period. Anyway. Yeah, what do you think? Over under 1.5 world records.
I'm going under. This is exactly how I found out about this is really stupid of me to admit, but I didn't know what the 0.5 meant in over and unders until now. Like, now I'm realizing it's so you can have like a concrete number.
Right. So there's no ties. Yeah. When at most swim meets where Jack Spitzer and I are together, we will do over under on a time.
No, it's so funny because last week, when the Iowa women's basketball team came to play at Northwestern, and we were doing like over unders for how many points Caitlin Clark would score, and everyone was saying like the over and under was 33.5. I'm like, what is 33.5? How can you score half a point? But now I know.
Guys, wait! You can't score half a point. How many points did she score?
She scored 35.
Wow, that's a lot.
I was covering that game. You guys should all read my feature. It's pinned on my Twitter, X formerly known as Twitter. But anyways.
Wait, YanYan, actually, while I have you here, I want to divert from swimming and ask you, what are your thoughts on Caitlin Clark going pro versus her staying in college and making a crap ton of money?
Now this is just a sports podcast now.
Yeah.
I think she should go pro. I think there's a really cool opportunity for her to play with Aaliyah Boston in Indiana.
Mhm.
Because I think the problem with her at Iowa is like none of her teammates are on her level. But if she has
Mhm.
someone like Aaliyah Boston, like they can be like the dynamic duo, the Shaq and Kobe of the WNBA. And I think she's just at the point where she's like she's done almost everything she can in college, and I just don't see how it's beneficial for her career to stay in college. Also, it improves her chances of making the Olympic team if she goes pro. I think.
Well,
I
that's
don't know.
interesting.
I don't know how the selection works because it's very discreet, but I think it will help. But yeah, that's my take.
Will she break the record for
The
scoring?
women's record,
Yeah.
probably. The overall record, I think there's a chance, but if she breaks it, people are gonna be like, "Oh my god," because Pete Maverich broke it in 3 years, and people are gonna play the asterisk game with that.
Has she been in college for 4 years?
Yeah,
Got it.
this is her 4th year.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. Thank you for giving me and our listeners that knowledge on Caitlin Clark. I was reading about her the other day, so I was interested.
Yeah, there was a really good New York Times feature on her that was written the other day.
There you go. Go read the New York Times feature on Caitlin Clark, brought to you by YanYan. Okay.
Okay.
YanYan, any final topic about this World Champs you want to
Um.
discuss? I
Well,
mean, I think we've hit the highlights, but give me your thoughts.
Well, I just think I said this before. I think this World Championships is a very good opportunity to just test things out because you have the big meet feel, but you also know that this is a low stakes meet. So I think we'll see some pretty unique things happen, and I think this is a really good stepping stone. And I think having that experience under your belt, especially for a lot of the younger swimmers, it's going to help them a lot come time for the Olympics. And I just think at first, when I first heard about this World Championships, I wasn't a fan of it as well. But I've grown to like the idea of it more, and I'm very excited. Hopefully, I can catch some of the meet on the weekends. Maybe I'll tune in on Sunday, but we'll see. I'm definitely very excited, regardless of whether I can watch it or not.
Yeah, I think that about does it for us. Again, finals for these 2024 World Championships in Doha start this Sunday at 10 a.m. Central U.S. time. That's 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. You can catch all the coverage on SwimSwam, and we will see you next time.